As if the Rashod Bateman and Lamar Jackson connection could not get any better, it sounds like this entire offseason, it certainly has. Team, keep it clean. Let's get into it. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on and leave a like on the video because it helps out a lot. Now, we saw Rashod Bateman last year and how he just ascended to new heights. He went crazy with it. Rashod Bateman, he really turned the corner last season. And what's funny is, throughout last offseason, we kept hearing about, Rashod Bateman making all these highlight plays. Rashod Bateman and Lamar Jackson, they got such a nice connection. And some people were like, oh, yeah, it's the offseason. It ain't a real game, so that's probably fake news. But guess what? It was all real. It was all real. And Rashod Bateman and Lamar Jackson let us know that through the entirety of last year. But then this year, it seems like it's continuing to get even better. Let's read the report from today, the last practice that fans could actually attend. So shout out to anybody that got to go to training camp. And this is from our guy, Jonas Schaefer. He said, Rashod Bateman and Lamar Jackson are in sync today. Now, with him saying that, that's not big news right there because there have been a lot of practices where different reporters have said something like that. But let's continue. It says, maybe 6 completions already in team drills, including a 50-yard touchdown down the left sideline over Chidobe Awuzie and Sanusi Kane. So Rashod Bateman said, hey, I'm not only making plays in one-on-ones. I could beat a corner and a safety at the same time, too. I got it like that. But then, get this part. This is the part that got me really excited for this season. He said, Bateman's been the Ravens' top downfield threat in camp. So that's something that I hadn't heard yet. But that is certainly music to all of our ears if Rashod Bateman can continue just evolving his game as a wide receiver, continuing to climb that ladder as a Baltimore Ravens, just straight up playmaker. And we know he can. Because Rashod Bateman, I remember when they first drafted him, he showed so much promise, but then he got hurt. And then he finally came back, but then Lamar was out. And those two just never really got to get on the same page. Things were off. They just were out of sync. But then finally last year, something clicked. And when it clicked, it clicked. And the rest was history. It was only up from there. So now you take a Rashod Bateman, you take a Lamar Jackson, you give them yet another year to work with each other, another year of Rashod Bateman being one of 2 of the Baltimore Ravens' top wide receivers. And it's only going to create something that's just so beautiful for this Baltimore Ravens offense and so beautiful for the continuity and the consistency of Lamar Jackson continuing to grow and Rashod Bateman doing the same thing as well. Man, we got so many playmakers, so much talent on this offense. We done gone over it all offseason. Y'all already know. I know we just ready for the regular season to start. We ready for them Buffalo Bills. We ready for that game just so we can see everybody on the field at the same time. We ready to fast forward through preseason, but we got to wait. We're going to be patient. We'll get there eventually. But just knowing that Rashod Bateman is still doing his thing. Just knowing that we got Zay Flowers, who's going to still do his thing. We got DeAndre Hopkins in the mix. We got a Mark Andrews. We got I ain't going to go down the list because y'all know the list already and we ain't got to repeat ourselves. But just knowing everything that the Baltimore Ravens have for this season on offense, they're going to make history. So now we reach my favorite part of the videos where we get to feature questions from you. Send me an email at teamkeepitclean@gmail.com or you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids if you want to show the channel a little extra support and become a Team Keep It Clean patron, and you can send your question on there. Now, somebody who became a Team Keep It Clean patron literally like maybe an hour and a half ago, our guy, Alex. Alex, we appreciate you becoming a Team Keep It Clean patron. Thank you very, very much. And I love this because he got it started the right way because he also sent in a question. He said, our biggest crux. Hey, how's it going? Hope all is well with you and your family. Appreciate that, Alex. He said, I am new to Patreon, and I'm not sure if this is the best place to send my question to or not. You did it perfectly, so perfect. He said, it's been a while since my last question. I've been dealing with a lot of stress, anxiety, and insomnia the last couple of months, and it's been rough. I've been watching your videos and still wanted to become a Patreon to send in my next question. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Before we even get into whatever your question is going to be, I appreciate you supporting the channel despite everything that you're going through. I'm not sure the reason why you're going through whatever it is that you're going through, but I appreciate the fact that you have that going on and you still came through. You still showing love to the channel. So big shout out to you for that, Alex. Thank you, man. He said, my question is, how confident are you with our offensive line this year? And what would you grade them overall? How confident am I? I guess if I can mix my confidence level and put a grade on it, I would say either B- or C+. I'm not the lowest of confident guys when it comes to the offensive line. Yeah, I know it's been all the talk about Daniel Falele. It's been some talk about Andrew Voorhees, but more so with Daniel Falele. What I'm thinking about is Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, Roger Rosengarten. Actually everybody. I can't even say just Roger Rosengarten, but I was about to say everybody's done had their slip-ups as offensive linemen. It happens. You ain't going to win every single rep every single time. But those guys are pretty consistent. With Voorhees, the jury's still out because he only played 3 games last year, something like that. With Falele, he's still in the transition of learning that new position, adjusting to being a right guard. So I would say probably B minus, C plus. And the reason I say that is because mainly at the guard positions, there's a lot of question marks there. But with Daniel Falele, he's somebody that, he struggled throughout last year, but he came on stronger toward the end of the year. After he really got stuff going, he got more comfortable. And I would expect that for him to be even more comfortable in his second year at right guard. Last year, they just threw him there as a little experiment, and they were like, you know what? No, we're going to keep him there. And with Voorhees, I know he was very versatile in college at USC. They said he played different positions along the offensive line. So hopefully that him being a guard, it'll be a smooth transition. I know he had some good reps in preseason and whatnot, and even last year too. And then I know he had some not so good reps as well, but I'm just hoping him being next to Ronnie Stanley, him being next to Tyler Linderbaum, that'll help make life a lot easier for him. So I would say B minus, C plus, but he wasn't done. He said, do you think they will be our biggest crux, especially in the playoffs when it comes to making it over the hump? No. I don't. They are a part of everything, obviously, through the trenches. A lot of games are won and lost, but they are not our biggest issue, and I actually really hope nothing is an issue in the playoffs. But no, the offensive line has not been the Ravens' Achilles heel in the playoffs, and do I think they will be that this year? No, I don't. Again, I hope they don't have no Achilles heel in the playoffs. EDC said last year before the season started that they will be better this season, but I'm still worried, especially at the 2 guard positions. Also, what is your opinion about how John Harbaugh knew about Daniel Falele when he was 16 years old? That's crazy. I've seen that article floating around. That is crazy. So Falele's he's like a plant or something. Like this was planned all along from years ago, man. But no, it's all good, man. That's what you call some heavy recruiting. Like that's long-term recruiting right there. He said, do you think Daniel Falele is really our best option at that position? That's a good question. You still got Ben Cleveland there, and other than that, yeah. But Ben Cleveland, left guard, right guard, what is he? He could play either spot, but he's not gonna get that opportunity. I was even surprised when they brought him back. But you figure with the deal that they gave him, he was not going to be in any real competition for a spot as a starter. He's just somebody who's a safe option. And we said that from jump because I believe they signed him before the draft. And so I felt like with Ben Cleveland, with them bringing him back, that he was somebody where they were like, all right, we'll have him on the roster. If he makes it, cool. If we draft who we want to draft and they end up being a starter, great. But if we draft somebody and they can't be a starter or we don't get to draft who we want to draft, then we'll just keep him around. And I think that's exactly what they're doing with Emory Jones. Emory Jones is supposed to compete for a guard spot, but he had an offseason shoulder surgery. So this is probably going to be a redshirt year for him as a Raven. We'll see. But that's what it's looking like so far because he has not been in training camp at all. So, yeah, it ain't looking too good for him. Anyway, he said, or does John Harbaugh just really like Daniel Falele? I wish EDC can try and get someone else to replace him or at least get more of competition. Yeah, there has been absolutely no competition at either guard spot this offseason. Those jobs, as expected, this is not a surprise at all, but those jobs, as expected, have been given to Andrew Voorhees and Daniel Falele. Now, Daniel Falele, again, starter all last season, so no surprise. Andrew Voorhees, that really wasn't much of a surprise either. And when you think about it, minus the Eagles. I was about to say, you can't have, that guy at every single position on your team, but the Eagles did it, so you can do it. But the Ravens are not going to have, just straight the best of the best at every single position. And I'm not down in the offensive line at all, not down in those guys. They're in the NFL for a reason. But the Ravens are not going to have every single experienced veteran at every single position and da-da-da-da. So there's going to be some youth movements at some different positions and offensive line, specifically at guard. That's where they're choosing to have theirs. He said, at the end of the day, I hope he becomes great. Oh, we certainly all do. He said, but I'm just worried, especially seeing him fall down in the first preseason game. Now, he did get a little tangled up with the center, it looked like. But, I mean, it was a rough rep. It happened. It happened. And those things happen to everybody. Sometimes we see some of the best corners in the world fall down. We see some of the best receivers in the world drop a pass. It happens. So we see some of the best quarterbacks in the world. They'll throw a pick. We see all this type of stuff. We see some of the best running backs in the world fumble the ball. It happens to everybody. But we just don't want it happening so frequently. That's the thing right there. Anyway, he said, especially seeing him fall down in the first preseason game, I'm also not sure about Andrew Voorhees. I hope he plays well, too. We all certainly do. He said, thanks again, GOAT, for everything. Appreciate you, Alex. I'm not the GOAT, but I appreciate you. Next question came from another Team Keep It Clean patron, my guy Omar. He said, Ingraven, hope all is well with you and the family. If you look up the highest paid non-quarterbacks in the NFL, 4 of the top 5 are pass rushers. Ooh, I think I know where you're going with this. He said, that really shows the value of having big bodies that can move fast. The Ravens are fortunate to be in a position this season where they have 6 players, 3 on the higher end, who have all proven they can rush the passer. You don't cut these body types. The salary data backs that up. You said 6, 3 on the higher end. Okay, I'm assuming you talking about, and actually you weren't going in the direction I thought you were going. I thought you were going to say something else about Odafe Away. But anyway, 3 of the higher end types you're talking about, I'm assuming Odafe Away, Kyle Vanoy, and maybe Mike Green. And while Mike Green is not like NFL proven, yeah, even though last week, hey, he did his thing. He showed like, hey, I'm ready. But still got to do it in regular season too, which we expect him to do. But I'm assuming you're talking about Mike Green. And then the other 3, Adisa Isaac, Tavius Robinson, and David Ajabo. I'm assuming. Let me know, though. Anyway, he said, my question is this. How would you manage the outside linebacker room? Would you keep the current top 6 and adjust the position allocations to make it work, or keep 5 and stick with the same position distribution as in 2024? Appreciate your insight as always, my brother. Thank you, my friend. Obviously, the top 3, they ain't going nowhere. Odafe Away, Kyle Vanoy, Mike Green. Adisa Isaac, he is not going anywhere. Tavius Robinson, oh yeah, he definitely ain't going nowhere. Ajabo still, I still think that there's a big chance that he could end up being gone, whether it be traded or now when you cut, if they really needed a roster, from a second round pick, but still it just ain't worked out thus far. I could see him possibly being traded or cut. I think the Ravens would much more like to trade him if it came down to it, if they were going to get rid of him. I think they would much more like to trade him so they could get something for him rather than just cut him for nothing. But I think in order for him to stay on the roster and they keep 6, that he would have, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I feel like he would have to have a monster next 2 preseason games. Like he would have to go absolutely crazy. Like go full Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Max Crosby mode. Like I feel like he would have to go wild. Absolutely wild, man, in order for them to keep him. Because I just don't see it, man. I just don't see them doing it. And there's a couple of different scenarios that could happen. One, they could keep him for the rest of this year. His contract runs out. He goes sign somewhere else in free agency next season. Another scenario, they could trade him before this season gets started. But another scenario is where he played this season and he stayed with the Ravens and he had a decent role with the team. But in that role, he performed fairly well. And they signed him to a contract extension. Not no crazy contract extension, not no big groundbreaking, record-breaking contract. It will be a very modest contract extension. And I think that would, if he does well this year, I think that would really favor the Ravens because they could obviously go based off of his previous history, but also what they expected him to do in the future, because that's what contracts are based off of. They're based off of what you've done, but also what they expect you to do. And if he still just has some more of a reserve role, I'm sure he wouldn't want that. But at the same time, if Ravens are your best option and they give you your best offer financial-wise, and there's a possibility of getting an even bigger role, especially think about this with Kyle Vanoy. We know he's not up there, but he's a little older. He's a veteran in the game. He ain't going to be playing forever. So David Ajabo could look at it like, okay, even if it ends up being Odafe Away and Mike Green in the future. But then look at this. Odafe Away, that's not even a guarantee for next year. For next year. Well, actually, that's not a guarantee. This is the 5th-year option this year, I believe. Hold up now. Yeah. This is the 5th-year. Yeah, because him and Rashod Bateman, they got drafted the same year. Yeah, this is his 5th year. So with Odafe, it's not even a guarantee that he's back after this season. So David Ajabo could be looking at that like, wait a minute. And the Ravens, they could also be looking at that like, wait a minute. So I'm sure they probably hoping that David Ojabo ends up being a baller. And so they can have all the options in the world, especially after this year, because there's a whole lot that could change with the landscape of their pass rushing unit. Next question came from Girgis. Now, real quick, before we get into this question, we have like a million emails. We got a whole lot. So I appreciate y'all being patient. I've been trying my absolute best to get caught up with them. So if you haven't seen your question yet, please just bear with me. Please be patient, and thank you for not complaining about it. But I appreciate y'all even sending in the questions. Like I always say, these videos, it's y'all. Y'all be taking over the videos. We talk about whatever going on with the Ravens real quick, but y'all got it. Anyway, Girgis said, hello, Ingraven. What's up, Girgis? And I appreciate you allowing us to explain what's going on with our questions and emails being backed up like crazy, because y'all send in a lot. But I love y'all. So thank you. Anyway, he said, this is my first time sending a message, but it's about a topic that I think perfectly encapsulates the Ravens' playoff struggles, specifically the 15-2 stat line, which is how many turnovers the Ravens have had compared to how many they forced in the Lamar Jackson era. For as many playoff games as we have played, this is obviously the worst in the league. Now, I want to state that I think our defense is excellent in the playoffs outside of forced turnovers. I agree, and it's very important that you say that. Whenever the conversation is had about the defense and not forcing turnovers, a lot of people try to make it sound like the Ravens defense has been bad in the playoffs. They have not been. They haven't been. They have been more than good enough for the Ravens to win a lot of those games. They've been doing their part. They've been doing their thing. But, yeah, anyway, continuing, he said, however, the lack of short fields they provide the offense leaves a lot to be desired. Now, with that part, that's also true. And while the defense has been doing their thing, they've been playing good enough. It's with the offense. If the offense makes a mistake, the defense hasn't been able to be like, all right, hey, we got y'all. We're going to get it back for y'all. It forces the offense to have to almost play perfectly. Now, we want the offense to play perfectly every single week. We want them to play mistake-free football. You hear it all the time, but it doesn't happen like that all the time. It doesn't always go that way. So it's nice when, all right, offense makes a mistake, all right, defense forces one. So anyway, continuing, he said, and the offense continuing to turn the ball over at such a large rate is our biggest issue. It is. They got to get there right. But anyway, he said, and it's been everyone on offense, including the QB, wide receiver, tight end, and even our center got in on the fun when they snapped the ball over Lamar Jackson's head. It's the lack of preparation and the execution of not turning the ball over and getting turnovers on coaching. Yes and no, because it's on coaching to, especially if the conditions of the game changing, especially like weather and stuff like that. It's up to coaching to get the team as prepared as they can possibly be. You want there to be little to no room for error at all. If you got to practice the snaps a little extra so you make sure you get it right, hey, that's one of them things. Practice, it makes perfect. And it don't make perfect, but it makes a whole lot better than if you don't practice it, if you don't emphasize it, if you don't really put an exclamation point on that during practice. Now, the coaches, they can only do so much. They're not out there throwing the ball. They're not out there catching it. They're not out there tackling. They're not out there doing any of that stuff. That's on the players, too. The players still got to do their job, because it's one thing. You could tell somebody something all day, every day. Hey, you need to do this. You need to do that. Or somebody could tell us something all day, every day. Hey, you need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. This is how you need to do it. And you could be like, okay. Got you. You could go over it. They could go over it with us a bunch of times. They could rehearse it a bunch of times. They could be like, okay, yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, yep, I understand. Gotcha. And then when it comes down to actually doing it, we got to do it. And if we don't do it the right way, it ain't necessarily on them because they went over it with us. It would be on us too. That's our responsibility. We got to handle our business. So, yeah, the coaches staff, they definitely share some of the blame, more so on coaching decisions, though, and game plans. But execution, that's on the players. So, yeah, both pieces of the pie share some of the blame. Anyway, he said, because I know the Bills coach enforces it, and that's probably why they did such a good job recovering all fumbles and even the fumbles in the Chiefs game despite losing that one. Thank you for the great content. Keep it up and have a great day. I appreciate that, Girgis. He said, P.S., I don't see us ever losing a playoff game where we have 0 turnovers. Just based on how well we stick in games despite the amount of turnovers we do have. That's such a great point. And that's what's so frustrating about these Ravens, man. They'll turn the ball over like 50 times in one playoff game, and they'll lose it by 2 points. And you're like, oh, man, if they would have just held on to the ball 49 out of those 50 times, then it would have been a blowout. Speaking of turnovers, next question came from my guy, Bradley. He said, what's up, Ingraven? What's up, Brad? He said, as a huge Ravens fan, I can't wait for the Ravens 2025 campaign with this seemingly stacked roster that appears to have everything needed to make that Super Bowl run. As we all know, winning key areas like the turnover battle is crucial in deciding big games down the stretch. That's true. He said, recently the Ravens social media team has posted multiple videos of Lamar Jackson throwing interceptions to one of our many talented defensive backs. On one hand, it's great to see our defense being disruptive and making plays, but at the same time, Lamar was elite at avoiding turnovers in 2024, and I hope he hasn't taken a step back in this area. Is this cause for concern? No, not at all. Nope, not at all. He threw picks last year in training camp too. He just ain't had a regular season win. So no, it's not cause for concern at all. He said, or should we not read too much into these training camp clips? Then thanks for all the great content. No, I appreciate you. But yeah, nothing to worry about, nothing to be concerned about. It's training camp. At training camp, this is the time to take some little extra chances, take some extra risks to really sort of build that chemistry with your players, see what they're capable of doing, see what they're capable of overcoming, and seeing what, okay, well, maybe I'll go to somebody else if I want to try something like that next time. But it's all about the risk in training camp, so we ain't got nothing to worry about at all. Speaking of risk, or should I say chance, how high or likely is it that our guy Jay Higgins, an undrafted rookie free agent linebacker, makes this Baltimore Ravens team? Well, watch this video to see what type of chance we would give him and let us know what you think about it.